I think this is a different situation for whatever your experience has been, or wherever you are, sorry, in your career right now. Some people do a lot on their own. They do, non-union work. They are self-submitting. They're doing self-tapes on their own. They're auditioning on their own. And then they book like a really big job, or they get an offer for a big job and realize, oh my gosh, I can't manage this on my own. I need someone's opinion. I need an expert to help me out. And then they look for them then. Other people, straight out of high school, straight out of university, decide I need to start looking for an agent so that they can help me sort of travel this career path from the very beginning. So I'd say there's no wrong time to be looking. What I think is more important is the why you're looking. What is it that you're doing right now that is telling you need to have that assistance, or you need that next step in your career? So I would say there are certainly, I don't know if you have more questions that you want to ask, but I can just delve right into it about, how you should be looking for an agent and what are the things you should be doing when you're starting that search, I think is more important than the when or the how, or sorry, not the how, the when to do it, but the how is very important.
Yeah, please talk about the how in your opinion.
I'd say first and foremost, you need to know what it is that you want out of your career. Are you happy to be a background performer or an SOC commercial performer? Think about or research the types of careers that you want to have. If you aspire to be somebody like, a Jennifer Lawrence and have big blockbuster credits under your belt, then perhaps, research a little bit about what her trajectory was like, what her path was like. And in terms of you're in Toronto, let's be realistic here. You're in Toronto, you're looking for somebody to represent you locally. Look at the different agencies, and I think most agencies have a website. I mean, I know Grand Wave does. And if they don't, I highly recommend that people invest in IMDb Pro. It's relatively inexpensive for a year-long subscription, and you can go on there, and for the most part, the agencies list their entire rosters. So you can say, look, I aspire to have a career let's say Chris Robinson. And you go online, go onto IMDb Pro, you check out Chris Robinson, and right at the very top, it says represented by Grand Wave Entertainment. And then you can go to Grand Wave Entertainment and look at the rest of the roster and say, okay, look at who these people represent and look at some of the projects that their clients are working on. What do they seem to excel at? What do they seem to be expertise in? And, obviously Grand Wave at this time, a lot of comedy, a lot of stand-up. So if that's you and that's something you're looking for, then that's somebody that you should be reaching out to. You also need to consider, I'd say secondarily, you need to be considering the type of representation you want. Do you want to be sort of one of hundreds of clients who are being, submitted fairly, obviously very regularly, or are you looking for more of a niche managerial style representation? So that would be the difference between looking at some of these agencies that have hundreds of clients and, look, they have prestige. There's nothing wrong with being at one of these giant agencies. Obviously there's, benefit to that. But if you're the type of person who knows that you need to have a hands-on approach, you want to have somebody who's guiding you and able to talk to you and, answer emails and get on the phone with you every day or every week, then some of these boutique agencies, I think, are the better way to go. So I'd say those are the two things you need to think about. What this agency, excels at, what is their specialty, and what kind of representation style am I looking for? And once you narrow down what that is, then put together your short list. And there are certainly plenty of places. Like I said, IMDb Pro is a great resource. I know ACTRA also lists agencies, so you can research there who, might be a reputable agency for you to reach out to. I'd say avoid agencies that only exist on social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram. And again, nothing against those places. I'm sure they've got their own business models, but I always caution people, you want to protect yourself and you want to make sure that you're getting the best representation possible. So, do your research, look at who their clients are. Do you recognize any of them? Do they have the careers that you aspire to? That's who you should be reaching out to.
That's great advice. So when an actor who's unrepresented gets to that point where they get down to their short list, what do you look for as an agent as far as like what they need to have in order for you to make a decision to represent them, as far as materials, experience, training, any of those things that really pops out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say to anybody who's looking to reach out, the number one thing you don't want to do is like a cold call, a phone call. Don't cold call an agency and just say, "Hey, I'm looking for representation," because number one, I can't see you. I can't see what you've done. Majority of the time, I'm not going to know who you are. I apologize. So what I would say is put an email together and put together, almost like an interview package that show me all the things that make you great, why we should be interested in you. And that can be a demo, that can be a resume, that can be headshots, that can be, your 15 minutes, that you did at Comedy Bar the week before. Or if you don't have those things, send us self-tapes, send us coaching tape, anything that shows us what you can offer and where it is you're coming from. I'd say, for Grand Wave, and I'm sure for our other agencies, it's not just about like having an impressive resume of hundreds of credits and big name, directors and projects under your belt. Sometimes there's just like an it factor, not a non-union performer who's just come out of college or university and is been very well trained, has a very distinctive voice and, poise to them. We've certainly signed a couple of people from those experiences who we just felt like had something very special and unique to offer. And we felt like we could, help them get to that next step. So anything that you think puts you in the best light, that's what we're looking for,
Beautiful. So like special skills, that sort of thing. You can juggle, you can ride a unicycle, you can speak different languages, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that I think is secondary to demonstrating your abilities and your voice. Right. And, but of course, it's lovely to know that you can speak multiple languages. It's great to know that you can juggle and, perform circus tricks, or, that you were that you were an NFL draft and that, you've come from a sports background. All of these things make everybody unique. And I think that's part of, Grand Wave's philosophy, is that we want to have a very diverse roster of talent, and not just, racially and, ethnic backgrounds. I'm talking like, I want a diverse group of people who come from all different experiences and different, performance levels at different places in their careers. Because ultimately I want everybody to be elevated.